Lamar Jackson reportedly offered $200 million guaranteed. This coming from Ian Rappaport earlier in the day. And there's been a lot of things talked about in regards to this number. Is it accurate? Is it cap? Lamar Jackson reacted and said it was cap. McAfee, Ian Rappaport were talking about it. We're going to break it all down and more. We're not just going to focus on Lamar. We're just going to briefly touch on this because I know a lot of you are tired of hearing about Lamar, but new news arises every single day on Lamar Jackson, so we got to address it. But we've got Lamar Jackson talk. Who's next? What's Joe Burrow going to get? Cigar-smoking Joe Burrow. Road left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.
What's this guy going to get? Joe Burrow is going to get $52, $53 million per season. What's Herbert going to get? The Fantasy Football Show. Your phone calls, your questions, it all begins right now, pal.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
What is going on, everybody? My name is Smitty. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show, and we're breaking down... Where are we at? There we are. We're breaking down all this and more right now on the show. Dial in. Appreciate you all. Big O in the building. Michael K. CPA. Belichick yourself. Steven. Alex will be opening up the phone lines in a minute. This was reported earlier today. We didn't really touch on too much of it as this was brewing when we're talking about Jalen Hurts. Trying not to overshadow the Jalen Hurts video, but here's something we need to address and talk about. According to Sarah Ellison, and this has been somewhat shot down by Lamar, and I'll show you that tweet in a minute, but Lamar was offered a deal that was nearly identical to Jalen Hurts' deal on some levels. Total guaranteed money, $200 million to Lamar Jackson. $200 million? $179 going to Jalen Hurts, $200 million to Lamar Jackson. Now, we didn't get our hands on the contract, and Sarah Ellison even said that when somebody questioned her tweet, and this is being retweeted by Schefter, Rappaport, so there's some heavy hitters behind this retweet and this information, and it might be, part of it might not be true. We don't know for sure, but these numbers seem to be somewhat in the ballpark of what we believe to be pretty accurate. But a $200 million total guarantee. Now, there could be some escalators in there. There could be the injury clause amounts included in that $200 million guaranteed. Guaranteed at signing was $133, more than guaranteed at signing for Jalen Hurts. Total value of the contract was $5 million different. And this is reportedly, according to Ian Rappaport, not the same 3-year, $133 totally guaranteed deal. That was an additional deal that maybe came off the back of this deal. This is reportedly another deal that Lamar Jackson turned down that was $250 million, $133 fully guaranteed at signing, and a total guarantee of $200 million if certain escalators kicked in. Now, the word is that the escalators, the reason there's some confusion and some cap being called out by Lamar Jackson.
That is cap.
Lamar calling it cap, because I believe there's some sort of escalator in this that if Lamar was on the roster for the second year, the escalators would kick in, but he most certainly would be on the roster entering year 2. And so that's why the contract would reach $200 million. Now, Lamar did tweet this cap, and this is an animated GIF that a lot of people use. Multiple caps, like cap upon cap upon cap. You know, that's what Lamar's trying to say, that none of this is true. That was Lamar's response to this potential contract he was offered. But even if the numbers are off a little bit, Lamar Jackson is off his rocker. Lamar Jackson is out of control at this point in terms of trying to navigate these treacherous waters that are not easy to navigate for even an agent. Even an agent that knows what he's doing, that's versed in this kind of environment. This agent, so-called agent, even an agent like I don't know, name the best agent you can think of. And this guy or girl is going to have a tough time navigating these waters with all their experience. Drew Rosenhaus comes to mind as probably the best agent in fantasy or in NFL history. Drew Rosenhaus knows how to get deals done. I mean, Jalen Hurts' agent is a pretty good agent, obviously. These agents would walk in and have a tough time navigating these waters, and Lamar's trying to navigate this by himself. It's crazy. It's absolute madness. Dial into the show if you have a question. We're going to move on from the Lamar topic. We don't need to beat a dead horse on this topic, but who's next? Is it Joseph Cigar Smoking Burrow? Is he going to get $53, $54, $55 million per year? If I had to guess, I would say Cigar Smoking Joe Burrow's offer will look very similar. Let's see if we can put Jalen Hurts' deal back up. I believe this was Jalen Hurts' deal. It was $179 fully guaranteed on $255. If I had to guess, I would say Joseph Cigar Smoking Burrow gets $275 to $300 on the total contract. $188 to $190 mil fully guaranteed. And I would say around $52, $53 million per year, and becomes the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. And yeah, it's going to be the most guaranteed money, I believe, at signing. I think it's first or second. Joe Burrow comes away with the top average salary for a quarterback in 2023 and beyond, at least for the time being. So we'll talk about that. Brucey, you're on the line here, Bruce. What can I do for you, pal? You're live.
All right. Well, I got to play devil's advocate to this.
Oh boy.
These contracts, and I say Watson still has the contract, the biggest contract. They have incentives they have to do. I don't have to do any incentives if I'm Watson. I still get it. I still get the bag with no incentives. They have incentives. I don't.
What are you trying to say, Bruce? What are you trying to say, Bruce?
He has no incentives, and he gets $230 million. Watson or Hurts probably has $250, but he has to do things.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, Bruce, but at the end of the day, you got to think about things like if you're signing a contract like this, and you're getting more per year, you're getting to those guaranteed dollars earlier. There are some ways to, like Drew Rosenhaus said, win the contract, have a better contract at the end of the day. And you're going to end up getting that extension anyway. I don't know if Watson will see even close to a similar extension as Jalen Hurts is going to get. I get what you're saying. I mean, $230 million guaranteed is $230 million guaranteed. And if Jalen Hurts, ends up getting, let's say, his $179 fully guaranteed, and he maxes out his contract at the end of the day, I mean, would you rather have Deshaun Watson's contract? Sure, but no one's going to get that. So what Drew Rosenhaus and a lot of people are saying is you can still win the contract in a shorter period of time. Like, you're going to get your money quicker than Jalen Hurts or than Deshaun Watson. You're going to get your guaranteed money quicker. At the end of the day, Watson's going to drag out a little more money at the end of the deal, but there are ways to win this average amount. Like Joe Burrow is going to get probably not upwards of 230 fully guaranteed, but he'll get somewhere around the 200, 220, but he's going to get that $52-53 million per year. Now, if Joe Burrow signs like a 10-year deal, like, Mahomes, then he can stretch that amount out and it'll be more team friendly. But I hear what you're saying, but at the end of the day, there are still benchmarks that Jalen Hurts' deal is better than Deshaun Watson's. But I hear what you're saying. 200 mil guaranteed, 188, 195. Joe Burrow's heading in that direction for sure. And Joe Burrow deserves it. I mean, no one really deserves this kind of money, but I mean, comparatively, he deserves it.
Not compared to us, regular human beings.
Bruce, you deserve more than Joe Burrow. I hope you get it someday, pal.
I got one question for you.
Punch that thumb up button. Hold on, Brucey. We've got only 15 thumbs up. Punch that thumb up button, guys. Help your boy out. Thank you.
Yeah.
What else you got, Bruce?
I did a dynasty trade not too long ago. So I traded this year's second and next year's second for Cole Kmet.
This year's second, next year's second for Cole Kmet. I can Smitty. I don't think it's like the second rounders are okay to me. They're not gold. If I'm going after a player I really like, and Cole Kmet is a breakout candidate for me. The only thing I'd be careful of, Brucey, is making sure you don't overpay when you don't have to. Part of me wonders if you could have got him for one individual second round pick, but it is what it is. You need a tight end badly, bro. Sometimes you can't get him for anything, and that's not a bad deal. I love Cole Kmet. He, we talked about this earlier. Who is the number one overall tight end candidate for the next TJ Hawkinson? Kyle Pitts. Go watch the video. It's on the YouTube channel. It's one of the most recent videos I've done, probably 2 videos back. Kyle Pitts is number one overall for being the next TJ Hawkinson, and that's even factoring in that we all see him kind of coming. But the problem is this guy is going around 6, or the good problem to have is that he's going around 6, and he's capable of being the number 1, number 2, or number 3 tight end. The doubt is just so thick, bro. People doubt him so much that he's falling in a crazy fashion where he shouldn't be. And Cole Kmet is my number 2 breakout tight end to be the next TJ Hawkinson. A little less obvious, a little more doubted, a little less on the map. He fits the bill a little more for being like more embedded in the middle rounds, whereas Kyle Pitts is embedded in almost the middle rounds, yet people still have a problem with you saying this is the next TJ Hawkinson, and in the same breath they have a problem saying he's not going to be good, Smitty. Why do you like Pitts so much? It's weird. It's almost like I'm getting punched from one side, bro. And it's like, how do you consider him a sleeper? He's no sleeper. And then on this side, why do you like Kyle Pitts? Who's he got throwing to him? I'm getting hit from both sides, Brucey, constantly. And that's how I know that I'm hitting a nerve in the right way with this topic, because when you get hit from both sides, you know you're right in the right spot. This is a topic that needs to be addressed. And that's when I beat a dead horse, bro. That's when I talk about something. Where's my gavel? That's when I talk about something over and over and over, not because I like beating a dead horse or being repetitive or redundant. It's that it needs to be said until the whistle blows and it's too late to even go get him. This is Kyle Pitts. Will be somebody that I talk about over and over and over. I'll try and come up with new content and information, not just regurgitate my content, but you're going to hear me talk a lot about him until I start seeing his ADP change. And he's a moon man for a reason.
The moon man dropping.
Yeah, because I only had just 50 other tight end retired.
Cole Kmet, though, bro, I love him a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up on the satellite men list, the alternate list for the moon men, so that we're at least giving him some space time, some space hours. We got a new subscriber to the channel. GB, appreciate you, 226. Brucey, what else is going on, pal?
I said I hope so. I got Fields in that league, so my stack. Fields and Kmet.
I love the stack. Muth. I love Friar Muth. He's good, Steven. Sam, what's up? Jimmy G will be on the bench after week 5. I can't argue with that whatsoever. Jimmy G only deserves a sandwich, says D-Town. Herbert, I don't know what you mean, Steven, when you say Herbert. Herbert could be next as far as a contract, if that's what you mean. But I think Burrow or Herbert. Here's the thing. Whichever one goes next is probably getting a tad more. And whoever goes next is probably getting a tad more. I don't know if Burrow or Herbert want to go next. They're probably waiting for the other one to get, a contract. Problem is, if Herbert comes in and gets a lesser contract, then Burrow's like in a weird spot. If Herbert comes in and gets a little more than Hurts, then Burrow can come in and get a little more than Herbert. And just on they go. But Joe Burrow's going to get his. Joe Burrow, wouldn't shock me if Joe Burrow was very close to the 200 to 220 fully guaranteed. But it just depends. These guys want to sign smaller contracts. Only Mahomes was team friendly. We thought maybe Jalen Hurts would sign a team friendly, like very long 8 to 10 year contract like Mahomes. There was a shot, but he got some good advice. The reason you don't want to do that is because the salary cap increases so much, you can come back in 3 years, 4 years, re-up, and get the new price tag amount. Like, look at Josh Allen now. How far down Josh Allen is on the guaranteed money list. Let me see if I can find that. Where's that at? I think it's in here somewhere. I got the contract amounts for the highest paid players. Maybe it's right here. Yeah, look at this. Dak Prescott's 40 mil, Stafford's 40 mil, Daniel Jones 40 mil, Josh Allen 43, Mahomes 45. Mahomes' deal was monstrous. And when that came in, we're like, wow, this is crazy. This is, when will this ever be broken? Like, I remember everybody freaking out. But now look, Mahomes is number 5, soon to be number 7 on the quarterback salary list per season. And so that's why a guy like Jalen Hurts might sign a 5-year deal instead of a 10, because in 4 or 5 years when he re-ups, this guy can end up getting 60, 65 million. I wouldn't be shocked if we're above 60 mil a year in about 4 years' time. Won't be shocked at all. Phone lines are open, guys. Dial in.
Call into the show.
I debate
Call
that
into the
Jimmy
show.
G comment. I like Jimmy G. I think he finishes as a top 10 quarterback in fantasy this year.
Brucey, the only reason I'm not hanging up on you right now is because you're a legend on the show. But Jimmy G, top 10 quarterback. You're making me question whether I need to send somebody over there. Is this a cry for help? Is something wrong, Bruce? Are you safe right now? Because the only reason someone would say that is to try and trigger someone to come help them. This is like blinking twice if you're okay. Jimmy G, a top 10 quarterback? Brucey, come on, bro.
I love Jimmy G. That's why you know that. I'm a Jimmy G supporter. I
Then
believe
Burrow,
in Jimmy
Lamar,
G.
Herbert. Yeah. Lamar's probably going after Burrow. Burrow's probably getting his bag before Lamar. I don't know if Lamar signs a offer sheet until June. And at this rate, the way what we're hearing about Lamar, part of me thinks a couple things could happen. Like this deal right here that was reportedly offered to Lamar. Lamar Jackson, $250 million total value. Jalen Hurts is $255, $5 million apart, if this is accurate. And we have reason to believe it's pretty close. $110 million fully guaranteed at signing. Lamar would have got $133. And again, this is being reported as not that 3-year, $133 fully guaranteed deal. This is a different deal. This is believed to be a 5-year deal. Total guaranteed money in this 5-year deal. Total guaranteed money, $200 million. That could include the injury part of it that's being reported wrong, and that might be why Lamar Jackson dropped this, cap upon cap upon cap gif in response to this right here, because maybe it's being reported a little bit wrong. But Lamar Jackson, part of me thinks a couple things could happen. Lamar's either going to take this and see the feedback. Not that he cares so much what people think, and he seems stubborn. Very stubborn. Like, I don't think he could get, even if he got the best advice from the people he respected the most in the NFL industry, if they came to him and said, Lamar, you need an agent. You need an agent. Like, I understand what you're doing. We all commend you, but it's time to get an agent and go to war for your future and stop worrying about this little charade you're doing. And part of me thinks that no matter what, he's just going to dig his heels in more and more and more. But part of me does wonder if he takes this like reaction and he says, let me go with this and tweak it a little bit and just get it done. Like, I could see him doing that, because if Lamar Jackson, and if the Ravens are looking at this and the Ravens are like, we're getting laughed at because we offered this, the Ravens might not go back to the table with the same kind of thinking and framework. But maybe they do. Maybe they say, look, everybody, we're airing dirty laundry here, which is how we think this may or may not have gotten out. We don't know how much of it's true. But if we sit here and say to ourselves, okay, this is being aired out in front of everybody, Lamar's getting to see the reaction, maybe the two sides come to terms on something very, very similar, and Lamar comes in, they bring him in, and they figure it out. I'm out, though. I'm out. I am completely out on this. Cop Watch wants to know, is Sarah Ellison credible? Well, the fact that Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport are retweeting her content, it's as credible as we can, assume, I would say,
Here's
yeah.
my question about that.
I would say, yeah, if Ian Rappaport and Schefter wouldn't retweet her tweets and her content if they didn't feel she was credible. So this is kind of like if you're a friend of a friend. Okay. This is any friend of Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport is a temporary friend of ours for now. Even though we rip on Ian and Shefty, they're still the most knowledgeable people. Look, as much as I rip on Schefter and Rappaport, I'm no fool. I don't pretend to have a better source for breaking news. I think those guys drop the ball sometimes in the way they do stuff, but in their defense, and I've said this before, even at the same time of ripping on them, in their defense, they're moving at 100 miles an hour. Like there's times where I get on here and I've got some of the numbers wrong. Like it's just you're trying to go live as quick as possible. You're trying to do your due diligence, but so maybe this reporter Sarah Ellison has got it right or wrong, or maybe someone fed her bad information. It's possible, but even in her defense of somebody saying, "Where'd you get this? Did you read the contract?" And she's like, "What contract?" Like the contract's not made available for anybody to look at. The contract, it's not like you can just go down to the courthouse and request the records of the last contract that was offered. So she replied like that, and rightfully so. No one's got the contract in front of them. This is all hearsay, media release information, Schefter, Rappaport, and we're going to get it wrong and pass down wrong information down the line in the business because that's the nature of smoke season and all that. But I do believe that this is probably pretty on par. And even if it's off a little bit, like let's say the fully guaranteed at signing wasn't 133, it was 122. If the total guaranteed on the whole deal was maybe 180 instead of 200 million, we're still probably very well in the ballpark. And the fact that the total guarantee of this 5-year deal that we're talking about here that was potentially offered to Lamar, suggested that it was, is above Jalen Hurts' guaranteed money, even if it's wrong and it's equal. Instead of 200 million, let's say it is 179.3. What is Lamar doing? This guy has nobody advising him whatsoever. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's really draining. Like, get your act together, Lamar. What are you doing? You're fighting an uphill battle for no reason. There's nothing. You're not paving the way for anybody. No one cares. No one cares. Half these players are too smart to want to be their own agent. It's not like you're breaking a cycle and you're giving the power back to the player. Agents are there for a reason. There's a reason you don't go out there and try and facilitate your own home sale. You could if you want to. You could go and buy and sell a home on your own if you want to do all that grunt work to save a dime. But most people say, you know what? I'd rather just work a little extra hard at my job, do what I do great, and in the end, that pays for itself. Go out there and work on your reputation and get a sponsorship. Go work on your gym. Start selling more of your, what is it called? The total or the complete gym. What is it called, Brucey? The whole gym, the entire gym.
Total package.
Yeah, the whole package.
Total package.
Go sell your whole package, Jim. Like, what are you doing, Lamar? No one cares. No one cares. You're paving the way for nobody. No one cares, Lamar. Just get an agent.
Be a devil's advocate.
Get an agent.
Lamar, and I'm going to stick up for him. What if that lady who got her tweets and everything else, and she tweeted it and Rappaport and Schefter did, what if he came out and made his own tweet and said, "You don't know nothing. This is exactly what it was"? What if he did that?
I mean, he's done that by saying cap upon cap upon cap. He responded to it. It doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it's wrong. Like I understand. I'm admitting that it could be off a little bit. We don't know what the exact offer was, and Sarah Ellison admitted that in a comment. Like, she's not pretending that she's got the contract in her hands, but it's enough for me to come out here and kick it around if Ian Rappaport and Schefter are both retweeting it. And Ian Rappaport went on the Pat McAfee show And actually, this is Ellison in the report right here. It says right in front of our face that this was per Adam Schefter. So it looks like she's maybe reporting per Adam Schefter. Ian Rappaport was reporting per Sarah Ellison, which was reporting per Schefter. But Rappaport felt strongly enough about it. And I'm not saying he's perfect, and I rip him apart all the time. But he's still better than anyone out there because he's got the most access. So regardless of how we're critical of how he sometimes becomes a reporter and sometimes becomes an opinion person, and he blurs the lines in between. And he needs to make a real clear statement when he's giving an opinion piece versus a reporting piece, because we look to him like a reporter, like a factual reporter. And then when he puts on the other hat, I'm going to put on this hat and become an opinion guy, he sometimes doesn't clarify. So that's the biggest beef I have with Rappaport. Sometimes he wants to be so badly a talking head, which he's not really that guy. He's the guy that knows everybody. That's part of his job. And even if this is wrong, he was confident enough to go on the McAfee show and spit all these numbers out. So it's like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to not report on that? And I'm not saying you're accusing me of that, Brucey, or claiming that. I'm just saying this is what we have. This is what we have. And it seems to be concrete enough that Schefter's talking about it. Schefter's reporting on it on McAfee. And it's coming from, Rappaport is reporting on it on McAfee. So like, this is what we have. It might be wrong, but this is currently the most accurate information we believe to be true, or very close to true. And it just makes Lamar look awful. It makes Lamar's conquest, it just makes his pursuit awful looking. Like this isn't doing anything for him. He's not gaining anything from this. He's only hurting himself, and he's digging deeper. Does anybody else get a sense that he just keeps digging a deeper and deeper and deeper hole that he can't get out of because he's afraid to save face? He's afraid.
I agree with you.
He's afraid. It's crazy. We got That's Fire on the line.
Yeah, I guess like my whole thought on all of this is that if these numbers are correct, like Lamar should have accepted them. First of all, because Jalen Hurts is way more of an elite player, in my opinion, than Lamar Jackson is. Jalen Hurts is a better passer. Jalen Hurts might honestly be the most complete running quarterback in the entire league, because like I think Mahomes and Burrow are better than him, but like Hurts plays a more complete game. I'd say out of all the run first quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts is the best passer of like Josh Allen, Justin Fields, and Lamar Jackson. Jalen Hurts is better than all those guys. So
well, look for
the market also.
Hold on.
He's focused on winning.
Lamar's
not.
You give such disrespect to Josh Allen, bro. Like, I was with you a little bit on that. I'm like, okay, That's Fire's coming in with a strong take here. He likes Jalen Hurts. Thank you for liking. I was assuming you'd hate Jalen Hurts. I don't know why. I really picture you hating him before last year. I really do. The way you've come so negatively at Josh Allen, but so positively for Deshaun Watson. I can just picture you being a Jalen Hurts hater last year. I just call it a gut instinct, bro. Show me some evidence somewhere, because I just can't buy it. I just can't. But I was with you a little bit on your take until you just disregarded Josh Allen again, as if Josh Allen's some scrub, bro. Like, I love Jalen Hurts. He's amazing.
I mean, he's not a scrub, but Jalen Hurts makes better decisions with the football because he doesn't turn the ball over as much. He's a more elite decision maker than Josh Allen. You can come at me all you want, but when you look at the ratios, Jalen Hurts is a better decision maker. I'm not saying Joe Burrow.
I'm not saying Jalen Hurts isn't going to become the consensus 1 to 2 quarterback every single season. Look, you're not going to have to convince me of that. If anybody's going to be pro Jalen Hurts, it's this man right here that kept beating the drum all season last year and the season prior. Like, this isn't a 1 year I got on the train right at the right time. This is me 2 years in advance beating the drum, hitting the gavel. Jalen Hurts, go get him through 2 years of turmoil and doubt. So you don't have to convince me. I'm just saying, you just take Josh Allen and you just pluck him out of the elite crew all the time with everything you say. Like, at least put him, bro, with respect at the bottom of the big four. Like, why you got to take him out of the top 5 or 6 and just completely blow up your whole argument and credibility in the call? I'd at least be like, yeah, that's fire, great take. And then you take him out, you put Watson in the top 4, and you take Josh Allen out. It makes no sense.
I honestly think I would make a case, Trevor, if you're going to take Deshaun Watson out, that Trevor Lawrence should be the guy that goes in there, not Josh Allen. Josh Allen, Justin Fields, and Lamar Jackson do not belong in, and this might be more football than fantasy football, but they do not belong, in my opinion, in that top 4 conversation. None of those 3 have done anything to warrant being in top 4 consideration, in my opinion. What has Josh Allen done?
Bro, you are borderline. You are 2 more thumbs down away from getting hung up on, which is, it's not a bad thing. You're not banned from the show. You're just gonna have to call back. You can dial right back. But the audience decides when I have to hang up on someone just to prove a point. And bro, you trying to take Josh Allen out of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks is crazy talk. It's crazy talk. What has he done? What has he done? Josh Allen is a phenomenal quarterback, bro. What do you need a Super Bowl win before you start accepting it? It took Jordan a while to win championships, bro. You can't just judge Josh Allen off of that. Like, he's a phenomenal quarterback. He's still getting better. I mean, bro.
But my problem with these quarterbacks, like my problem with Allen, Fields, and Lamar is that when they throw more, they turn the ball over more. And for me, when you watch Hurts, Burrow, and Mahomes, when they throw more, they're more productive with it. It's not like there's this inverse correlation with throwing more and turning it over more. That's why I like those 3 more than the rest of the league. And I think Watson, before all this stuff was done, you could put him into that category. Like a lot of people.
Hey, that's fire. You can call right back. But I had to follow the rules, bro. The audience dumped you. You just, bro, that's fire. Call back. We got to set this right. Just don't talk about Josh Allen. Just leave him out. You want to call in and say something? That's fine. But just stop talking about Josh Allen. You ruin all credibility in your argument when you start saying that Josh Allen's not even in the top 4 or 5. Like, I love Trevor Lawrence, but you can't take Josh Allen out of the top 4 to shove Trevor Lawrence in. You can't take Josh Allen out of the top 4 or 5. Like, at least keep him in tier 1, bro. Oh, God.
Do you know what would have happened if Dayball would have been able to, or Snyder rather, been able to pull off a trade to New York with Josh Allen after they hired Dayball? Oh. Give up like 2 or 3 first-round picks and Danny Dimes.
I can't even hear what you're saying right now because I've got echoing in my head. Josh Allen, take him out of tier 1.
Oh God.
That's fire. I appreciate you, bro, but no. Anyway.
I wanted Josh Allen when they hired Dayball. And I'm not a Giants fan, but I wanted Josh Allen to come with them, whether they had to give up 3 first-round picks or not.
Josh Allen is him. Josh Allen's going to win a couple Super Bowls in his day. Maybe he doesn't win 5. I'm not saying he will. But in the next 10 to 12 years, the amount of time this kid's got left, he's winning. He's winning at least 2 Super Bowls, at least 1 to 2 Super Bowls in his reign. I just can't believe the Josh Allen disrespect that just was spat out. That's fire. You're welcome to call back. Have thick skin. Don't take offense to it. You say you play silly games, you win silly prizes, and you won the silly prize of getting disconnected on because you just need to leave him out of the conversation. Yeah, it's very Skip Bayless-like. I think Robert's got that under control there. Allen's a monster, an absolute savage. An absolute just monster. If you want to rank him 4, like out of the big 4, I have no problem with that. You can't tell somebody they can't have Jalen Hurts, Burrow, Patrick Mahomes 1, 2, 3. You could even come in and say Fields is number 4 and Josh Allen is number 5. But the most you're allowed to do in the civilized world is put Josh Allen at the bottom of tier 1, not outside of tier 1. Blasphemous, bro. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this Lamar Jackson contract with all this going on. I think if Joe Burrow signs his deal and he gets $53 million, 54 million per year, he gets 190 fully guaranteed, or I think it's going to be in the 200 range. I think Joe Burrow gets over 200 million fully guaranteed. I believe his guaranteed at signing will be upwards of the 88, 190, 200, 220 fully guaranteed. It probably won't reach the 230, but it also will be just structured different than Deshaun Watson's. It's not going to be 5 years, 230, fully guaranteed.
No one will ever get that again.
Yeah,
I don't think.
And it's important to know that some of the escalators that Jalen Hurts has, I think, brings his total deal to 279. I want to say, or 274. So there's other, he got an extension, a 5-year extension, and he has his original year on there. And I think sum total, it's around like 270 something. It is a bold take for fire, but I mean, what is football without takes? Agreed, but it doesn't mean you can't get hung up on and have to call back. That's all part of the fun too, bro. Burrow is getting $500 million deal, 300 guaranteed, 150 at signing. Wouldn't shock me if it was something crazy like that. I would say,
hey, Smitty.
Yeah.
Don't you think now that this is happening, Lamar's going to have to accept the tier 2 quarterback money
No,
now?
I don't. I mean, maybe we're hoping, but I think Lamar might be thinking, well, I'm as good as Hurts. I need what Hurts is getting. And then we're all like, no, you're not. You're not. You're deserving of what you were. You're not even deserving of what was offered to you.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Like
I don't
said,
think
as a community.
I don't think he
was
deserves.
dumb for not signing it.
If this is true right here, that he was offered $250 million comparative to Jalen Hurts' $255. If he was offered $133 million fully guaranteed at signing versus $110 for Jalen. If he was offered a total guarantee of $200 million versus $179, or even equal to that, Lamar Jackson is an absolute fool for not accepting that offer, because he won't get that offer again. He won't get that offer again from another team. And maybe it's off. I already admitted that. Maybe because I didn't see the contract, but I do know that Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, the Pat McAfee show, and this individual who they're all retweeting and talking about, and she's per sourcing Adam Schefter, they're all talking about it. It's the most up-to-date information we have, whether it's got some inaccuracies or not. We're all trying to read through the smoke, from a reporter or talking head perspective. I do try and be accurate. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I don't ever put a headline out there. I'll put a question mark, like if there's something being talked about, but I don't ever say Lamar signed and Lamar didn't sign, or I don't say Lamar, is traded and he's never traded. I don't do those fake headlines or try and get clicks off of something. The last thing I want you to do is come into my live stream and go, oh, this isn't what he said it was going to be. I'm out of here. That's a dumb way to market your show. So I do my best, but I don't feel like this is reckless whatsoever. I'm using the biggest news and sources out there that are suggesting this is true. I can't fight against that. I'm not going to say, I'll just sit here and not report on anything until it's actually announced to be official. Like, we're going to kick it around, and I'm very open about it. I'm very blunt and honest that we don't really know. No one can know what the offers, really was, but we certainly aren't going to sit back and let this go untalked about. Devo says, damn, I missed the notification. We're live at 7 p.m. Eastern every single Monday through Friday, Devo. So set your alarm. Tell me, I want a raise of hands of how many Alexa's I affect right now. Alexa, set a daily alarm for 7 p.m. Eastern. How many Alexas did I just affect right now? Did anybody's alarm get set? I'm curious.
Mine is.
Lamar needs weapons before he can actually define a guy. Yeah, but you know what? Lamar's not using his brain, birds. He's not. He's going back into a situation where he doesn't have weapons, maybe. That's what we're thinking. That's what the Lamar Jackson and Odell Beckham Jr. Late night screenshot Instagram party was about. You know, maybe it seems like that's died down. Why did they have fun on Instagram talking about Odell signing there? And Odell says he got no assurances from Lamar. They were on FaceTime having a blast, dancing around. You think Lamar gave him zero assurances? I doubt it. So if Lamar goes back with no weapons, that's his own fault. We can judge him all we want. If he goes back to Baltimore without Hopkins getting traded there first or something, and he just goes back just playing with Odell, he's making his own bed, and I'm staying clear. I'm a very, very big supporter. Alexa, set an alarm for 7 p.m. Eastern. I think we got Prime's Alexa again. There we go. We got her. Got him.
Yeah, the only thing I'll never agree with Schefter and Rappaport on is Aaron Rodgers anymore.
Yeah. I mean, Aaron Rodgers will not feed Schefter or Rappaport accurate information, so we need to go to Trey Wingo for anything Aaron Rodgers. Lamar gets less than Hurts. I kind of agree with Jose in that, like, if this deal was true, he should have taken it. He was a fool for not taking it. And I don't know that the Ravens, after being publicly blasted for even offering it, if they did, or anything even remotely close, I don't think the Ravens are going to revisit that offer if they did, in fact, kind of offer it. You know, Lamar is trash in Baltimore. This is facts. I guess I triggered Gannon's Alexa. Sorry about that, bro. Looks like I triggered. Hey, you guys should keep the alarm on. I mean, you guys say you don't have notifications, and you know. Phone lines, dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I guess that's Fire didn't want to call back in. He felt, I think, disrespected getting hung up on. But you call in and you start talking trash about Josh Allen, you get warned. Watson is a blunder. I agree. Watson is not a top 5 quarterback. Wish I had the luxury of turning down that kind of money. Don't we all, bro? Don't we all? Imagine getting imagine getting anything close to 180 million fully guaranteed. I mean, these players are not dumb. They're going to try and max out their potential. I mean, who would just sign anything when you know you can get more? But for Lamar to expect to get more than that is ridiculous. This is why you need an agent. He was probably sitting there going, just eyeballing that money and going, I think I should get more. And now he's realizing this is the market. He's not getting more. He should be crawling back and begging the Ravens to reoffer him anything close to this amount. How do you feel about Pickett? I like Pickett. I don't love Pickett. I think Pickett could be a good quarterback. Think top 10 to 14, which is good enough to win in that environment. Like Pickett could get, like, I guess the ceiling for Pickett could be Goff-like. And Goff had a phenomenal year. So could Pickett have occasionally phenomenal years? Maybe. Like, I'm not going to count on it, but I certainly wouldn't rule it out. And I think that Pickens, you've got Najee, you've got a great defense, you've got a great coach, you've got a real nice potential future. You've got an ability to, I think, grab a wild card spot on the regular. This defense is phenomenal when it's all healthy. I think Pickett could have a good year. I think Pickett could be very, very decent. I just don't think I'd be starting him as my fantasy football starting QB. You know what I mean? In a 1 QB league. Super flex, he makes a fantastic QB2. I think there's a lot of upside. A lot of upside. QBs are 25 to 26, barring injury. The likelihood they play out their whole contract is high. Everyone makes a fuss over Deshaun is ridiculous, says Jason. Well, I think people make a fuss over it because he hasn't lived up to the hype so far. And a lot of people, like that's fire, assume he will, and that's fine. We have opinions. But, I mean, I don't see Deshaun Watson coming close to earning what Jalen Hurts is, earning, and somehow he is. Somehow they're getting paid the same amount. Smitty, got to be Pittsburgh positive for Ron. I don't have to be positive for anybody, Grizzly. I'm just going to tell you how I feel, and I'm not going to change that for anybody. I don't care who it is. And I think even though, and Ron knows that about me, and Ron respects that, but I think I just was positive naturally about the Steelers. I gave you a very, very glowing review for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was a very nice review. So I don't know how I wasn't positive on Pittsburgh, but nobody influences me into saying something positive. You should know that by now, my guy. I'm going to tell you how I feel regardless. A.J. Brown, QBs get paid a lot of money. Is there somebody in here named A.J. Brown? I'm not sure if you're talking about A.J. Brown, the player, or is there somebody named A.J. Brown in here? I like Pickett. He got a lot of moxie and toughness in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I agree. I like Pickett's toughness. He's aggressive. I think Pickens is gonna have a great year. He's gonna have a real nice year. Smitty, when should I snag Rodgers in a 10-team PPR? When he's about 4 quarterbacks down on the quarterback suggested rank. I don't think you want to take him too early. If he feels like on an underdog, he goes in round 7 or 8 in a 1 QB. In a super flex, he can go really early or late. It's hard to know. 4th round, 3rd round, he can go that early. He's a great, if you get Aaron Rodgers as your 4th drafted player in a super flex, that's a home run. Same thing with Jordan Love in round 5 or 6. That's a great super flex move. Brucey, what else you got?
What do we think on Andrews if Lamar isn't there?
Andrews without Lamar is probably 80% as capable or 70% as capable. That's a big hit, though. We'll call it 70-75% ability to. That's about the most I think we'll get out of him. I think Lamar made him. He made Lamar. They kind of work really well together. It's hard to imagine the same workload because Lamar laser locked on him. Why? Partly because Lamar had no weapons for his entire career except for with Hollywood Brown. And even with Hollywood didn't consume so much that he couldn't still, have defenses kept honest and still feed Andrews. But we can't assume that he's going to have the same volume. And even last year, we didn't get a chance to really see Huntley and him play healthy together. So we don't really know what to expect. But I would say that to expect the same kind of production and volume it's tough, especially with the new offense too. You got a new offensive coordinator, a new offense being deployed. What if they don't throw nearly as much, man? I'm going to stay away from Andrews until we know Lamar's back. And if he is, and I'm drafting that next day, I might put Andrews a bunch of draft slots higher than his ADP. But right now, I don't know that I'd draft him.
If Hopkins gets traded, too, what do we feel of Hollywood Brown? Still a decent number 2?
No, I'd say a good wide receiver 3 in fantasy. I can't. Without Kyler being under center, I'm in a holding pattern with any Cardinal player.
And that's your hometown team.
You what?
I said, and that's your hometown
Yeah,
team.
because I'm not a biased Cardinal fan by any means. I'll shoot you straight, pal.
What if I think I asked this, but what if the Cardinals draft Bijan at 3? Is that a home run for him, or is that like, oh man?
Yeah, no, I do like if he would be the one exception to the rule. I think if we're talking about the Arizona Cardinals wanting to run the football and pound the rock, I feel like that's a good spot for Bijan long term and probably for this year. I don't believe Connor's the answer. I know he could play well if he's leaned upon, but I don't think that it's there's better spots for him. But once Kyler's back, that could be a great place. I mean, the Cardinals always run the ball well. The touchdowns are always there. Connor's been great the last couple of years. But it is a new coaching staff. It is potentially a new system, to a degree. And with Kyler and Lamar and anybody that has these running quarterbacks that have to run and scramble outside the pocket, and Kyler specifically, you can only change things so much because you got to build it around Kyler. Kyler needs to be on the move. He needs to be outside the pocket. They could try and teach him to be a better pocket passer, and I hope they do that. Yeah, go ahead.
What do you think of Bryce Young saying, I ain't going on any more visits like he's done? Do you think you heard something?
I think that
like, we're taking you number 1?
I think that feels like he's the number 1 overall pick. I think it also means that, like, look, you had enough time to reach out to him. He's not going to just keep visiting people over and over and over. Like, if you didn't make a big effort to see him, and he's not interested in late phone calls, like, that's your fault. Like, he's going number 1 or number 2. And I think it's hard to imagine a team that wants to trade into the 1 or 2 pick not have already having a meeting set up with him, not talking to him. But there have been situations like where the Bears drafted Jay Cutler and they didn't even meet with him once, and they didn't want to let anybody know. Like, there's all kinds of stories like that. So it's entirely possible. I can't imagine in today's NFL that would happen, but sometimes teams don't. They try not to let people know what they're doing. So it wouldn't be shocking if a team that traded up to the number 2 pick on the clock, and he was there, didn't really even have a meeting with him. It's possible, but I think he's going number 1. And Bryce Young is the best quarterback in this draft class, in my opinion. I know a lot of people have a problem with his size, but I don't have a problem with his size. Me being critical of Kyler, very rarely, sometimes I take a shot and say, a guy can barely see over the offensive line, and he's doing this wrong or doing that wrong. But at the end of the day, Kyler has proven to be one of the most electric quarterbacks in the National Football League. It's his mindset that has put him way behind the ball. And it's his mindset and attitude that's made him drop out of the top 5 quarterbacks, and then he got injured on top of that. So Kyler Murray is actually a wonderful example to provide if you're trying to extrapolate what these guys did at the college level into the NFL. Like Bryce Young, we have a proven track record for Bryce Young called Kyler Murray. Like, how did Kyler Murray not translate? He did. He was 100% one of the most electric quarterbacks in the National Football League at a certain period of time for a little while. Like, I mean, can anybody in here not be honest with themselves and say, oh, yeah, I never drafted Kyler Murray, or I never wanted to draft Kyler Murray? He was an exciting fantasy football quarterback to draft. And there was a point where Kyler Murray was like a top 4 fantasy football dynasty quarterback. There was a point where that air raid offense led by Kingsbury was the best offense and best team in football, and literally top 3, top 4 quarterback. I don't think people realize or remember correctly. They just want to block it out. But the Cardinals were the last undefeated team a couple years back, and they were absolutely balling, and they were the best team in football, and Kyler was on fire, And then Kingsbury injuries happened, and Kyler gets a little exposed when he doesn't have a good run game, and DeAndre Hopkins in the lineup stretching the defense. Belichick yourself dropping a super chat. New England trades with Arizona, grabs AR-15. Very possible. And I think Bill Belichick would do well with an Anthony Richardson. I think Bill Belichick would do well with a Lamar Jackson. For those that say it's not his quarterback type, he went with Cam Newton for a little while. So I disagree with it. That can't be a Bill Belichick quarterback, that type of quarterback, a scrambling quarterback. So I kind of think, this would be a good fit. I agree with you as far as it being an option I like. Kyler Murray runs like a hamster, says JCIM. Easy to say now, but where were people saying this when he was absolutely exploding? Where was he? Where were the doubters when Kyler Murray was one of the most electric players to watch on the field and the Cardinals were tearing it up through half of a season? You know what I mean? Like, it's really easy to, like, if we're going to be critical of Kyler, I think it's important to be critical of the things that we need to be critical about. I don't think he runs like a hamster. I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he just has a horrible attitude, and that's going to hold him back. He has a horrible drive. That's going to hold him back. His physical skill set, his size, none of that is affecting my evaluation of Bryce Young. As if Bryce Young has, is a problem. We have a proven track record.
And we've beaten this over and over again and said he wouldn't have taken the job if Kyler wasn't there.
Yeah. Thank you, JP, for becoming a member. Appreciate you. Tyler, you're on the line. Tyler, we got to keep them shorter. I can't map out the entirety of the trade, but hit me with what you got. Let's see what we can help you with today.
Would you give up the 2023 round 105 and a 2024 first for Tyreek Hill at Jeff Wilson?
Okay, so I don't care about Jeff Wilson's here. A 105 and a 2024 first. So the 105 third.
105 of this year and a 2024 first of 2024 next year first round. For, I guess, then just Tyreek Hill.
Probably not. But if you're in win now mode, I would consider it under the right circumstances. Like if I felt like, okay, I don't really trust this league to be around at all. I would probably be very tempted with that move. But if you're a true believer that this league will be around for a while, there's an argument to make that Jordan Addison or Zach Charbonnet or Jahmyr Gibbs, and this is the Superflex League, right?
Yes.
You could very well get Charbonnet, or I doubt you. Maybe you get JSN too. I mean, you never know. 1.5 in a Superflex is very hard to predict. But that's a tough trade. You got to make that call based on if you can win cash money right now. Tyreek Hill has probably 2 years left. I wouldn't give him more than that. He could have more than that, but I would not give him more than that. I would take it year by year after this year because, I hamstring, those guys, those quick twitch hamstring guys, they end up having issues quicker than some wide receivers, and they don't last as long because that guy is just firing off those hamstrings at 100% every time, whereas a lot of other players don't run 100% full speed like Tyreek. Tyreek is just constantly firing those bad boys, and at some point they're going to feel paper thin. He's going to start missing chunks of time, and so I'm going to say no, bro, unless you really think you can win it all right now.
I don't. I just asked because I really don't have a wide receiver one, and this guy offered me this.
Yeah.
It was from him to me and not from me to him.
I'll probably hold back on that one. That's fire dropped to $4.99. Why don't you call back, pal? Just because you got the boot doesn't mean you can't call back. It's just part of the rules of the show. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagle fans on having your franchise QB for the long term. Future is bright in the city of brotherly love. Nice moment there. That's fire. I appreciate that. That does clean up some of what was said, and I kind of forget. Let's just leave Josh Allen talk out of it. I don't care if you talk about Josh Allen too. It's kind of funny. it puts a damper on the point you're making is all. But look at this guy dropping a super chat, $4.99, congratulating Philadelphia Eagle fans. That's fire, and Jalen Hurts to the moon.
Let's go, mashed potatoes!
And to the moon goes all you Philadelphia Eagle fans that have had to. I mean, you guys are a little rough, though. I'll have to say the Philadelphia Eagle fans, they're a rowdy bunch, and they kind of create some of that negative talk. They've kind of generated it by some of the trash talk and the way they trash talk is crazy, and they're ruthless out there. Those fans are passionate, very passionate, but they also take a lot of heat and a lot of unnecessary criticism. But you know what? It just makes people look bad. Anybody that rips on the Philadelphia Eagles in a very aggressive way and says, "Oh, they're going to be trash this year. They're falling apart. They're falling apart." You see, they lost two guys. You see, they have the number 10 and number 30 overall pick. That's okay. You see, they lost another guy. Now they're down 3. They're down 3 guys. You see that? They're falling apart, Bill. Anybody that says that, I don't take whatever they're saying. I don't take them seriously. I cannot buy into another word that comes out of that person's mouth. That is not an objective person that doesn't see the Philadelphia Eagles as an absolute monster. The monster that it is. You are running your mouth. Just senseless. If you literally think that the Eagles are falling apart because they lost a couple players. Everybody loses players. Everybody. Every team. Let's go back to Tyler dropped off the line. Tyler, appreciate you, bro. Thank you for calling in. By his 4th year, he needs to have back-to-back winning seasons appearances to be elite. Who does? How come most of the time we account records for QB's success? When Jimmy G wins, it doesn't matter. I think it's a combination. I don't think we ever tie anything to anything every time, like this blanket statement. If you win, you're a great quarterback. If you don't win, you're not a great quarterback. Dan Marino didn't win a Super Bowl. Is he bad because of that? No. But you factor in a lot of different things, bro. You got to, I think, use your eyeball test a little bit as well. And Jimmy G, I don't care what his winning record. Look at his turnover percentage as well. What about that? I mean, what is a lot of turnovers? Is a turnover machine? What is turnovers and winning? How does that relate? It means your team carried you. It means that turnovers didn't necessarily stand in your way, but it really did because they didn't win Super Bowls, Any quarterback that had this winning percentage that everybody always cites with Jimmy G should have won a Super Bowl, right? Have we talked about Brock Purdy news today? No, Hod, but it doesn't, feel like Brock Purdy's going to be ready for week 1. I'll just say that. And so Trey Lance season will commence, but hard to know if he'll get a fair shot. Hard to know if the Niners won't be seriously toying with putting Sam Darnold in there. Smitty, message is a little long. Send it separate. All right, let's look for it. Dan. Let's look for Dan Grimm. Appreciate your super chat. I guess he's still typing it. We'll check back. Brucey, what else you got? All right, hang tight, Bruce. Let me read. What?
Go ahead.
I have T-Law, Love, Hall, Aaron Jones, London, Devontae Smith, Pittman, Amari Cooper, Hawkinson, Waller. If I can get Christian Watson for 24 first, should I go for it or try to get a running back? So T-Law, Love, this is a super flex. Aaron Jones, London, Devontae, Pittman, Amari Cooper, Hawkinson, Waller. I mean, I probably still try and get Christian Watson for that. I do like it. Could you get a Charbonnet? Could you get a 1.3 pick and grab Charbonnet or Gibbs? I mean, if so, I'd rather trade that 24 first and, like, let's say, like Waller, 24 first and Waller for like the number for Gibbs or Charbonnet. I would do that. Waller's older. I don't know how much time he has left, so I would try and trade him. And you're not going to get a lot straight up for Waller, but if you throw him into something like that, it might dilute the responsibility Waller has to win the trade, and therefore Waller becomes more attractive when you dilute that out to two players. That's why trading 2 players for one makes a lot of sense in this context. So, Amari Cooper, I would trade away high. I really would rather get Watson than Cooper. You could even look at that, second and Cooper for Watson. Maybe that guy does it. I still go after running back though. I don't stop searching for an RB. I feel like Breece Hall injured has some low value. I feel like you can maybe explore that using the first rounder. I mean, wouldn't you rather have Breece Hall versus Aaron Jones in the first rounder? So I look at that. Walker, obviously, I'd rather have the 1.1 using Aaron Jones and a first rounder, using potentially Waller and a first rounder to get Kyle Pitts. And then you could trade Hawkinson away, or you could just not go after Kyle Pitts and use Cooper and a first rounder to try and get Olave. You could use Aaron Jones in the first rounder to try and get Stevenson. Those would be all avenues I would explore, just trying to get that bump. Use Waller, use the first rounder to bump that older player, Aaron Jones, or I'll probably go with those avenues. Call in if you want, Dan, and we can go over it more in more detail. Or if you have another idea, just toss it in.
Hey, Smitty.
Yeah.
In a dynasty setting, what should I give up to try to get Javonte Williams? Because he's on the block. The guy's trying to get rid of him.
Not a first rounder. I hate to say that, but he's not potentially going to be ready for week 1. He could be, but we got to assume he won't be, because we've heard 2 different things, and his injury was worse than Breece Hall's. He didn't seem to be ahead of schedule. So how's he ahead of schedule now? He's probably just on track. But on track means borderline ready for week 1. Borderline ready for week 1 means Barkley's return from ACL recovery, that type of season, or JK's type of season. Being ready for week 1 doesn't necessarily excite me. Being ready for camp and then well ahead of week 1, that excites me. Being ready for week 1, what does that even mean? He can get on the field, rush it, get a whole bunch of swelling, cut for the very first time, not take a single preseason hit because you're worried and petrified he's going to get injured. So Javonte for a first rounder, probably not. Maybe a future, like a 25 first rounder. I would do that. Like something 2 years out, not even 24, 25 first rounder, sure. A couple seconds and a running back, like, I don't know. It depends on if you can win now. Like Aaron Jones example. Like, do I get rid of Aaron Jones for Javonte? Probably, because I want to, take the gamble that Javonte does eventually get the starting job back. But there's a lot of risk with Javonte. I hate to say it, but
should I try to trade future second and AJ Dillon
for Javonte?
Yeah.
That's tough because A.J. Dillon could have a really good year, but then again, he's playing in a split backfield, and he may never, ever get to the point where he's the lone starter. So, can you wait on Javonte, or is this going to really hurt you for now production?
It's really not. It's not going to hurt me in the now.
I'd do it.
But it's just it's going to hurt me in the future.
Why?
Because all my running backs are older. I have like Henry and
yeah. So I would do it to get younger at the running back position. Yeah, it's a risk. Okay. I mean, we have no assurances that Javonte is going to have the job when he comes back, and a little bit worrisome. But I do like him a lot. I haven't changed my mind on that. Dan Grimm celebrating 8 months on a YouTube exclusive membership. He says, great advice, Smitty. Thank you. Appreciate you, Dan. You're the man. Dan, I'm not done with you. If you want to call in, we can definitely kick it around. Is Isaiah likely a breakout 2+ years? We talk about him being in the next Hawkinson video. He comes up, but he doesn't, he's not strongly considered as the next TJ Hawkinson, but enough to mention. Purdy just said he could miss the season. All unknowns. Yeah, so his words taken potentially out of context a little bit, but Brock Purdy, said we gotta see how it's gonna go. Basically is what he said. He was like, it could be ready, I could not be ready. He said to find a way to have surgery and get the ligament healed up. That was his goal, but also cut down on the recovery time. I think it's huge. Purdy was quoted. Purdy instead received an internal brace, which is different than the Tommy John surgery, which to me is concerning. But his comments were, let me pull up the exact quote so I don't misquote it. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find. According to several reports, Yahoo being one, Brock Purdy is no longer wearing the elbow brace and is currently rehabbing without it. Brock Purdy has confirmed he will be present for phase 1 of the offseason program, which starts today. That was the most recent. And then it looks like Information Friday stated he doesn't get misquoted on. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. Brock Purdy on his rehab. Everyone on the same page. Everything is going as planned. It's a process for sure. Purdy said, it doesn't matter what you hurt. If you have surgery or something, you just got to let it have time to heal initially and go from there. For me, it's slowly getting better. A little bit every single day. Everything is going as planned. And so he got misquoted a little bit saying that, doesn't know. He could be out the year. He could be back, by week 4, mid-season. He has no clue. And so I think people are taking that as, oh my God, I thought you were going to play week 1. And the truth is they won't know until about another month, I believe, before they'll know if he's going to be having even a shot at playing week 1 or coming back like week 4, 5, or 6, or even mid-season. I think, so that's what I'm saying, Prime. He doesn't know. He's basically saying, he's answering the question. No one knows. I could be out the year. It could be out 6 months. I could be out 4 months. He doesn't know. And it got taken out of context, obviously. But I think for people to expect Brock Purdy to play early on in the seasons is ridiculous. It would be reckless for his career. This is like a baseball injury. We don't know how the internal brace is going to even heal. Trey Lance is there for a reason. You traded up for Trey Lance, giving up 3 first-rounders, and you better trust him. If you don't trust Trey Lance to be your starter at this point, why did you do any of that? Why did you trade up for him? Has Brock Purdy really proven that he needs to be the starter no matter what? Or did Brock Purdy just play in a very good offense that had Christian McCaffrey, that made even Jimmy G look good at times? Look good, not great. Look good at times. We haven't seen Trey Lance with Christian McCaffrey. What if Trey Lance is better than Brock Purdy with Christian McCaffrey? We've never seen Trey Lance and McCaffrey on the field at the same time. I think it's pretty important that we note that. I think it's pretty important to note that Trey Lance has had a whole bunch of bad luck every step he's taken. Mud bowl in week 1. Didn't even get to play week 1, essentially. Broke his ankle in week 2, right in the beginning of the game. And so we have nothing to go on from 2022. And the last thing we had to go on in 2021 was him winning a playoff implication game against the Houston Texans and looking pretty darn good. So I would just say to people, if you think Brock Purdy is for sure better than Trey Lance, you just pump the brakes a little bit and let's see what Trey Lance can do with Christian McCaffrey on the field. Because I promise you this, that you wouldn't even be mentioning Brock Purdy's name. You wouldn't even think he's a good player if Christian McCaffrey was not on the roster to help make that offense look phenomenal. We wouldn't even be talking about Brock Purdy's name. We wouldn't mention it. We wouldn't be saying, oh, this is the guy. We wouldn't. Plain and simple.
You think the draft day is when the Patriots are finally going to trade Mac Jones?
I don't know, man. I don't know if they trade him or if they just like have a competition and Zappy wins. I will say that I really, really feel down deep in my bones, bro, that Mac Jones is rattled. He's rattled beyond repair. I just don't know that I see a way back for Mac. And I feel like Bill Belichick's the worst coach for him because he's going to be really hard on him. And Mac Jones, I just don't know that he's got the ability. This is just my opinion based on what I've seen. He feels a little bit like a crybaby at times on the field. And I don't know. Like, I just don't know that I feel like he's got the grit enough to be a Bill Belichick guy. And I think Bill Belichick doesn't support him openly. He talks about how it's a competition. And I know that's kind of Bill's way. But you would think by now you'd be like, look, that's our guy. That's, Mac Jones is our guy. Everybody else is competing, but our quarterback's our quarterback. He never said that about Brady. It's not like a blanket. I'm not saying that that's a dumb comparison in some respects, but there is a point where your quarterback becomes so good, it doesn't matter if you're one of those coaches that says, oh, everybody competes. No matter what, every year, your job's never safe. You never say that about an elite quarterback, no matter whether the coach feels that way in general about almost anybody. But he's literally not committing to Mac Jones. And the same thing for Shanahan with Trey Lance. It's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Fields is the only quarterback, and I admit I wasn't extremely high on Fields coming into his rookie year because he's walking into a bad situation, number one. Number two, sometimes you just need to see the player at the NFL level. Like, it's not like anybody is always missing on a player like that. Sometimes you need to see if they translate, if they evolve. Brady's a perfect example. No one knew what Brady was going to do. Kurt Warner wasn't even believed in by 32 teams. The only person that believed in him was Vermeil. His own team didn't believe in him. So we really don't know how a player is truly going to mature and resonate at the NFL level till they're on the field. And admittedly, I overlooked Fields in a lot of ways, and I'm accepting of that. I'm also very quick to say, I don't care about what I thought in this moment in time or that moment in time. How do I feel now? It's all adjust and adapt season. You're always, don't take your biases into, the next season. If you feel like a guy earned your respect, he earned your respect. Fields is so doubted, and it makes me laugh because even a guy who's like, well, let me see what he can do. I don't know how Fields is going to translate. Boy, did he prove me wrong. Any doubt I had at all, I saw this guy prove it to me, and he's only going to get better. I absolutely love Fields. Mac Jones doesn't hold a candle to Fields. Trey Lance, we'll see. I think with Shanahan, I don't know that he can hang because Shanahan doesn't buy into him. Mac Jones, second rounder for Arizona.
The worst coach in football.
Mac Jones is second rounder, Arizona for Hopkins. It's not the craziest idea, but I don't know if it helps both sides. I mean, I don't like Mac Jones being there in Arizona for, you know what I mean? Like, you got Kyler, so he's not replacing Kyler. So what does he do? I'd rather have Hopkins for when Kyler comes back, and if somehow the Cardinals can squeak out 2 or 3 wins and Kyler comes back, after 5 games, maybe there's hope for the Cardinals. It depends on how the injuries that strike the division, and there's always. I mean, look at how bad the Rams played when the Rams were supposed to be the division winner, coming off a Super Bowl win. They were going to be a repeat NFC champion, or at least, in the championship game, and they fell apart. Like, you never know. So I would personally fight because you never know how things will unfold. But I don't want Mac Jones on the roster. But it's an interesting, concept. It's an interesting one for sure. Let's go to Muted Mario, and then we'll go to Jay Farr after that. Muted Mario, you're live.
So, Smitty, am I muted? I don't know. Hello?
Not yet. What's up?
Oh, there we go. So originally I was calling about Trey Lance, but all this Mac Jones stuff hits home because I'm actually leaving work right now out of Boston, and I was having a conversation earlier about some Patriots football. So it's funny that you bring it up. But yeah, Mac Jones. I'll tell you right now, around Boston and all that good stuff. We're not I'm not a huge Mac Jones doubter, but I like Zappy a little bit more than him. You know what I mean? Like him and Zappy, they're essentially the same quarterback, and we played a first rounder for Mac Jones. So it's hard to trade him away. I understand Bill was shopping him and stuff, but what he wants for him is no one's gonna want to pay it. You know what I mean? Because we paid it was a first round pick for us, so we're kind of stuck with him for the time being, which kind of stinks. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's also our offense all around. I love Bill, but we need to make some moves, man. We don't have a wide receivers. We don't our tight end situation is a little interesting. It's not the best fit for Mac Jones. I can't hate on Mac Jones fully because our offense isn't fully developed. So
Hob G's dropping a 50 watt. Hold on 1 second, bro. First of all, Bella, check yourself. Appreciate your $2 holler. You are the man. Bella, check yourself, said they don't know how long Kyler's going to be out, which is totally true. And I guess the way I would look at it is if you swapped out Hopkins for Mac Jones, the loss in Hopkins isn't going to help him win those games. So I feel like I wouldn't make that trade. I'd rather try and win with Hopkins versus take Hopkins out, try and win with Mac. And then, but I mean, there's some logic behind it, and I do understand where you're coming from. I just personally don't like Mac Jones that much. Hob G's dropping a 50 watt on screen. Appreciate you. I'm gonna let your question be read by the computer while I get prepared the stash of cash to make it rain here in the studio. So here we go. Hold on 1 second, callers. Let me get through this.
JAVG Super Chat $49.99 from JAVG's, the dopest football show on any platform. Thanks for all the hard work, Smitty. Wishing prosperity to you and our fantasy fam. I'm RDY for the draft next week and then implementing all these draft strategies in August.
Hob G's dropping the 50 watt on screen. Hob G's, appreciate you, my guy, the man, the myth, the legend. Appreciate you. Purdy just said he could miss the season again. Taken a little out of context. He could. It depends on what they find out. Unless there's something brand new that says he's out. From what I gather, that's what the information is. Okay, who else is on the phone here? We got Muted Mario. Hang tight, Muted Mario. Or did I answer your question, Muted Mario?
Well, my original question was, so for Trey Lance, are you getting more shares of Trey Lance with this information about Purdy? I know it's taken out of context a little bit. I doubt he's going to miss the whole season, but just for the sake of it, are you buying into some more Trey Lance?
Yeah, a little bit, bro. A little bit. And in best ball, because Purdy's value's dropping and Trey, people are still worried about Trey. Trey goes up a little bit. Definitely. People are a little excited about Trey. But he's still so doubted by a lot of people that hate the idea of Trey. You can kind of cuff the two together pretty easily if you want to go crazy cheap QB shopping. But the problem is you're not entirely safe because Sam Darnold's going to split reps with Trey Lance in the early part of the camp. So it's like, what do you make of that? You don't really know. We logical people say there's no way Sam Darnold's beating out Trey Lance, but then again, this is Kyle Shanahan. This is a guy that kept Jimmy G on the roster. This is a guy that let Jimmy G say goodbye. They wouldn't even give him a playbook. They wouldn't even let him around the team. He's walking around the perimeter of the field for weeks. And then because they can't trade him, they keep him on the roster. It's like, so who knows what they're going to do? Like, I have no clue what they're going to do. But I feel like Trey, if I could control the situation and I could make sure that the playbook wasn't going to change, what you implement for Purdy, you implement for Trey Lance, which I don't think he'll do. He sees Trey as a dual threat quarterback, meaning he's going to potentially have a different playbook for him. And if you could put it in my hands and I could run Trey out there as the Brock Purdy, doesn't matter, Purdy, Trey, Purdy, I think Trey would explode. But I don't control that, and so I can't pretend to know what Shanahan's going to do. Therefore, it's really hard for me to invest in Trey Lance from a fantasy perspective, but I will be rooting for him, and no one's going to be able to come in here and tell me that I didn't believe in him or anything like that. It's me waiting on Shanahan, and in the right situation, like in best ball, I'm drafting Trey where it makes sense, and I'm real happy about it, but I certainly don't feel ultra confident. Not because of him.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just the situation.
Hey, hold on one second. Muted Mario, hold on one second. Let's go to Jay Farr real quick. Jay Farr, what do you got? You're live.
How are you, Smitty? I just wanted to bring up, in redraft right now, I honestly am taking Trevor Lawrence over Justin Fields, Justin Herbert, and Lamar Jackson. How do you feel about that right now?
Say that again. You're taking who over who?
I'm taking Trevor Lawrence over Fields, Lamar Jackson, and Herbert. How do you feel about that?
Lamar and Herbs. I think you're making an argument that I could easily support. I could easily support Fields being the top option, and it's not that I rank T-Law ahead of Fields, but I 100% understand it. You could tell me to flip the script, and I could easily come in and offer a really good argument in favor of T-Law over Fields. So I have no problem with this whatsoever.
How do you feel about Lawrence over Herbert?
I have no problem with that. I think Herbert, I would have no problem with someone saying that Herbs is the number one player on this list. I have no problem with that. All these guys are capable of being the number one of this group. Every single one of them is capable of being, we'll call them a top 5 to 6 QB. This entire group is fighting for the number 5 or 6 quarterback spot. I think Fields gets it, but T-Law could get it. I love T-Law. T-Law could be a 35 total touchdown, maybe more. He could be a 38 total touchdown guy in 2023. Maybe more than that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he's a 40 total touchdown guy. Maybe he runs for enough to say he scores 34, 36 passing touchdowns, and he runs for the rest. Like, T-Law's an animal, bro. He's an absolute dog.
If Calvin Ridley is Calvin Ridley of old, I don't see why not. He could break 40 touchdowns.
Yeah, total, I could get behind that. 35 passing, and then he runs in a handful. Like, absolutely. He is a big time, big bad boy.
Big bad boy.
I also like to get your opinion, Smitty, on Jelani Woods. Do you think he could be the best receiver on the Colts?
Well, I mean, did you watch my tight end video, the next TJ Hawkinson video? It's about 2-3 videos back.
I missed that.
You what?
I missed that.
Okay, I talk about Jelani. I don't make him the next TJ Hawkinson, but he was important enough for me to put in the conversation. And so he's totally in that conversation. Like, Jelani Woods could be the next TJ Hawkinson. I don't settle on him being even in my top 3 of that group, but he's like in the top 6 quarterbacks for being the next TJ Hawkinson. But a lot of things need to happen for him. To answer your question, he could be. I think Pittman's going to outplay him. But could he be a 650, 700 receiving tight end with 7 to 8 touchdowns? For sure. Like, he's got that kind of upside. He's a 6'7" monster. But what I said in that video, you'll want to go watch it, is for him to climb into the top 3 or 4 consideration for the next TJ Hawkinson, because right now he's lingering around 5, 6, 7. To be in the top 3, top 4 consideration for being the next TJ Hawkinson, he needs a quarterback shakeup. He needs an Anthony Richardson to fall to the Colts at number 4, or a trade up to the Cardinals to get him. He needs a Lamar Jackson heading to the Indianapolis Colts after the NFL draft. If they draft what if they draft a wide receiver like JSN? They trade down and then they go after Lamar. I would turn the Indianapolis Colts into contenders within a couple days. Like, the NFL draft, you move this down, you take Jackson Smith and Jigba. Okay? You have Jelani Woods, you have JT, You go get Lamar Jackson on an offer sheet. You do it after the draft and you surrender a 24 to 25 first rounder instead of this number 4. And you trade this 4 down to 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever to get JSN. And you have an absolute machine, well-oiled machine led by Lamar Jackson, who gets to prove all of his doubters wrong and will have the weapons to do so. And the Colts are a potential division winner. The Colts are easily a wild card spot contender, and they're a Super Bowl contender at least 1 out of the next 5 years with that situation intact. Like, such a good team. Such a difference maker Lamar would be to this offense versus going back to Baltimore, repeating the same insanity over and over and being a total bust. Night and day difference. Lamar in Indianapolis and Jelani Woods, circling back, Jelani Woods would be, look what Lamar did with Mark Andrews. Like, Jelani Woods would be a monster with Lamar. And Anthony Richardson would probably lean on him heavily. Heavily, bro.
Definitely. But I got to give you a little pushback on what you just said. If Lamar goes to the Colts, can I be honest with you, Smitty? I don't think they're going to win that division with Trevor Lawrence in it. That's just how
well,
good I
bro,
think
you're arguing semantics. You're arguing like
we are.
No, but that's a dogfight. That's a dogfight race. You know, if Lamar's I mean, no one's suggesting that the Jaguars won't have a strong shot at winning the division every single year. Like, I'm not. That's kind of like when I tell someone that the Bears are gonna. I think the Bears are gonna squeak past the Detroit Lions and win the division, and everyone's like, I don't know about that. The Lions are good. Like, I'm also admitting the Lions are really good and they're very capable of. It's always going to be close between the top.
I get what you're saying, 100%.
Yeah, you're not wrong to think that the Jaguars could win their division. That's why I said, or at least get the wild card spot and they'd be a playoff contending team. But you'd have a rotation of division winners. You're never going to have the top dog winning in every single year. You know, like Seattle could win their division, 2 years from now and then not the next year. And it wouldn't surprise me. The Lions could win 1 year in their division and the Bears win the next year and rotate. That's no surprise to me. The Jets with Aaron Rodgers could win their division, and then the Buffalo Bills win it the next. Like, it's not crazy to imagine rotations going on with that, but I do agree with you. Like, Trevor Lawrence he's a monster, man. He's a monster in the making, and this guy's gonna be a 3-4 TD potential guy multiple times this season. He's gonna have a 4 touchdown game twice in 2023. Mark it down.
Thanks, Smitty. All right, take care, buddy.
You can hang on the line if you want, or you can jump off, whatever you prefer. Muted Mario. What else you got?
Sorry, I was muted. So I watched your tight end video earlier today. Reasonable why this tight end wasn't on the list, because he's highly busted last year. But I'd say it was more so Russell Wilson. But what do you think about Albert O?
I thought you were going to say Dulcich. I think Albert O and Dulcich are. Do you really see them becoming either one of those guys? Do you really see them becoming T.J. Hawkinson, though? Because that's what the video.
No, the video was just about.
Yeah,
like blowout candidates.
Because
really.
I had somebody in the comments say like on my video, who's the next T.J. Hawkinson? I forget who it was in the comments, and God bless them. For their loyalty to Dulcich. But they're like, the disrespect to Dulcich is wild, is what he said in the comments. And I'm like, really? Really? On my next TJ Hawkinson video, you have the audacity and the balls and the courage. Give him the courage. The courage to come in and say, the disrespect to Dulcich is wild. As if Dulcich is the next TJ Hawkinson. Like, and I kind of feel the same way about your Albert O comment. I think you're thinking like sleeper. Like, do I like him as a sleeper? Yeah. Absolutely, there's that potential. Mm-hmm. And every one of these guys here feels like they have the potential at least to be the next TJ Hawkinson. Okonkwo, you kind of feel that way about him. He could definitely go the route of not having enough quarterback play in production. Darnell Washington could be a bust, but he's got the 6'7" size. Jelani Woods is 6'7". Pat Freiermuth has got the upside to take the next step, or if he doesn't, he won't be Hawkinson. He'll always be, 6'7", 8 overall for tight ends, which is fine. That's a great place to be, but he's got at least the potential to take some kind of big step that a lot of people don't see coming, and then you're like, whoa, this guy matured real quick, with Pickett. So he's got the upside. Kincaid, if he goes to the Chargers, the Cincinnati Bengals, anywhere like that, he's going to have a serious, potential to be TJ Hawkinson. And then Kyle Pitts, we know he's got that potential, but there's so much doubt, it makes him a home run smash for the next TJ Hawkinson. Even though it's an obvious call, it's sitting there in front of your face in the 6th round. Like, how can it not? Why is it so obvious? Why are people not reacting to Kyle Pitts' value? Why is he such a steal if he's such an obvious call? Smitty, this is a dumb video. You got Kyle Pitts as the next Hawkinson? Oh, yeah. Why don't you tell us something bold? Well, in the video, I do talk about the guy that if you're not accepting of this, at least I'm giving you a huge home run, win a league, next TJ Hawkinson potential player in Cole Kmet, if you aren't accepting of this. But I just flip it back on people and say, well, then why is he around 6? Why is he in round 6? This guy was getting drafted in the late 2nd to early 3rd, which was asinine, and I was against shoving Kyle Pitts in his 2nd year into that value range. But if he's still capable of it, and he fully is, he's a steal in round 6. You're getting him at like a discount that's hard to even fathom.
Yeah, that's absolute win a league potential right there. That's too easy, right? That's the easiest stuff imaginable, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but hey, trust your gut, bro. Alberto, if he's your guy, like, don't let anybody tell you, even me. Cole Kmet, I was not high on Cole Kmet 2 years ago. So, like, things change. Things change a lot. Kincaid is more of a long-term prediction. If he lands in a Charger uniform or a Bengal uniform, then he can immediately go into this spot. But I'm very careful to say, hey, if you're thinking redraft 2023, only Freiermuth makes more sense than Kincaid for the next TJ Hawkinson 2023. But if you're thinking about, okay, what if he lands in a Charger uniform? This can happen right away in year 1. If he doesn't, then this is a dynasty field to it as well. Irv Smith can easily be a top 10 tight end. He could be. I think that's not a stretch. I mean, I don't think he's the next Hawkinson, but could he be a top 10 to 12 guy? Sure. Kincaid to the Packers, that'd be a nice fit. I think that'd be a really good fit. I think the Chargers would be number 1. Let's go back over to Bruce, and actually, Bruce, I gotta jump. So if you want to give me your final thoughts, and then I'll be back. I might be back tonight. I'm not positive, but today's Monday. Usually I don't go live on Monday, but there might be a breaking news video we got to do. I kind of get the sense that there's still a lot we need to talk about today. So, Brucey, final thoughts, 10 seconds, go.
I think this is the best community of fantasy football, and you put out the best content. Can I ask one question, though, Smitty?
Yeah.
Where are you ranking Herbert the GOAT who'll punch you in the throat this year? In top.
It's a great question, Bruce. And until he gets his, an extra weapon, this is a low ranking. I know a lot of people that love Herbert aren't going to like it, and it's not me being super disrespectful, but let's just say in any order, because we could argue this order all day long. Mahomes, Hurts, Josh Allen, Fields. These are the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 QBs, but not in any particular order. These are the top 5. Number 6 is T. Law for me, and number 7 is probably going to be Herbert. Now, that puts him at 7. That's a value, though. That's not crazy. It's not totally disrespectful because these are all monsters right here. But there's a tier break here. I think any one of these guys could finish 1 or 5. I think Fields is the most likely to finish 5 because these are a little bit bigger names that I believe in a little bit more for right now. But this guy's in the tier, ready to climb up. He could finish 2, 3. I love Fields. Tier break is definitely below Fields. Fields made it into the big boy. He's sitting at the big boy table. T-Law is going to dance in and out of this tier. Herbert, the difference between T-Law and Herbert is until Herbert gets more weapons, at least one, he won't dance in and out of this tier as frequently as T-Law, which makes this kind of like a mini tier break. Just a mini one, not a big one. And Lamar, based on where Lamar goes, Lamar's either going to be 8 or he's going to be able to dance into this tier as well. Let's say if he's in Atlanta, which he won't be. Like, that would change Lamar's fate for me. But, bro, until Herbert gets weapons, another weapon, until he gets a JSN, or this team's serious about giving him a long-term weapon as well as a weapon for now, you know, I just can't rank Herbert any higher than that. And I feel like that's accounting for, you know, him not disappointing, but doing a lot of the same, you know, one good game, bad game, not quite, you know, reaching his potential. Eckler could get traded. There's so many moving parts that make me a little concerned about Herbert this year.
Okay. Thank you, the community, and thank you, Smitty.
All right, Bruce. Appreciate you. Mario, you got one last comment?
Just enjoy the rest of your night, Smitty, and same to everyone else in this community. Hope everyone has a wonderful night.
All right, bro. Appreciate you. All right, guys. I'm out of here. Thank you all who super chatted. Please like the video on your way out the door. Hob G dropping the 50 watt on screen. Bella, check yourself dropping a super chat. Dan Grimm dropping one. That's fire. Appreciate you dropping your super chat. Bella, check yourself. Appreciate your super chat. Thank you all for being here. You guys are absolute straight fire. On the road to 18K. We're a few subscribers short of 18K. So tell your mom, tell your grandma, tell your friends. Get them on over to the Fantasy Football Show. Spread the word. It only helps this channel grow. When this channel grows, we got more giveaways. We got more live streams. You've seen this bad boy grow to an extreme degree. We weren't doing live streams every single time news broke, and now we are. And that's because you're spreading the word and everybody's telling. Tell a dude in a jersey on a street corner. If you're not going to tell a guy in your league, tell your work buddies that aren't in your hardcore fantasy leagues. Tell somebody that looks like they're totally into sports. They're wearing a Raider hat. You're like, hey, my boy Smitty hates Jimmy G. You know, give him a listen. Spread the word. We're on our way to 25K. Let's get 18K by the weekend. All right? Spread the word. Do it live, like Mitch said. And if there's any breaking news, I will come back and obviously break that down. I'm going on Instagram right now. Instagram live right now. Joining Raj and Uncovered NFL to talk a little. Probably they're talking Trey Lance. So if you don't want to hear that, don't go over there. But if you want to hear that, I'll see you over there. Later, everybody. Appreciate you.
It's time for some revenge, baby. Revenge tour, revenge tour. Revenge tour, revenge tour.